There's so much collagen and really good flavor inside the feet, so adding them to a stock is amazing. Usually you don't get these at the store, but they are really good and they make a soup that's just next level. In today's video, we're gonna cook, eat, and pressure can some Rooster soup. Rooster soup is basically my version of chicken noodle soup, and what's special about it is 100% of the ingredients are self-sourced. That means everything I've raised, grown, and harvested myself. Nothing is bought from the store. We're gonna make a large double batch with 3 different roosters. Right now, I have way too many roosters in the flock, and so we're gonna thin it down. They don't lay eggs, they tend to fight, and if you have too many roosters, they can hurt the hens. So basically, he's gonna serve his purpose by making soup along with 2 of his buddies. We're also gonna go to the garden and harvest all the ingredients. So join me on a soup cooking day. I'm also gonna pressure can what's left over and enjoy this soup for many months. Also send it in the lunches for my kids at school. It's really healthy, everything is organic and homegrown. So let's go cook some rooster soup. So the first step is we're gonna start with this rooster and go catch 2 more. As you can see, we have way too many extra roosters. I'll catch 2 more. Well, here we have our 3 roosters for our soup. I still have plenty of more roosters in the hoop coop, and we'll cook those in future videos. Now, by far the best way, in my opinion, to butcher these is skin on. You have to pluck them. The best way is dipping them in hot water and using a plucking machine, but I don't have that right now, and to hand pluck them, that takes a lot of time. For me, it takes about 30 to 40 minutes per bird to get all the feathers off just by hand. So instead, I'm gonna skin them. I can butcher and skin these in less than 5 minutes per bird, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna humanely dispatch these, go ahead and butcher them, and get them ready for the pot. So next time you see these 3 roosters, they're gonna look different. They're gonna go looking like these beautiful roosters to looking something like this. Well, here's our 3 roosters. They're all skinned and ready to make a broth in the pot. I also saved quite a few of the other parts, including the hearts, the gizzards, and make sure you peel off that membrane on the outside. We have some necks, liver, and something that's really good to add to your stock is chicken feet. Now for the chicken feet, I scalded these in hot water for less than a minute, and this outer skin peels off almost like a snake shedding its skin. So we'll go ahead and take that outer part off. I just don't want that floating around in my broth. Another thing is these toenails here. I don't want toenails floating around. They just come off too once you scald them. There's so much collagen and really good flavor inside the feet, so adding them to a stock is amazing. Usually you don't get these at the store, but they are really good and they make a soup that's just next level. Now our 3 chickens are pretty large. I want to make sure they fit in the stock pot, so I'm going to take off the thighs. Just fold these back and cut off the thighs. Just like that. We'll place these in a large bowl. Now we also need some ingredients from the garden. I'll go collect those, then we can start our chicken stock. We're gonna start by harvesting a bunch of celery. This will be perfect for our chicken soup. Next, we'll harvest some onions from the onion patch. It's getting towards the end of the season, but we'll go ahead and clean these up and get them ready for the pot. Now we also need some aromatics, some herbs, and on our herb garden we have plenty of thyme here and rosemary. Now one ingredient we like to add to our soup are some apples. This adds some sweetness. These are slightly tart and really nice in our chicken noodle soup. Now this variety is in my backyard. It's an heirloom variety. I don't know what kind of apples these are. They're very large and these are completely organic. They have 0 spray, but they tend to be worm resistant. They have much fewer worms than our other apples. These are perfect for pies, also for baking and for soup. I'm going to collect several of these and we'll add them to our chicken stock. And finally, some homegrown garlic. I harvested these several months ago. Now that we have all the ingredients for our stock, I'm gonna place them in one large pot. I was gonna do 2 smaller batches, but with 3 chickens, it just won't fit. I am gonna keep this colander insert just to keep everything together. We'll add some sprigs of rosemary. And plenty of thyme. We'll add the celery. The garlic, and I like to cut these in half, but still keep them large enough that they'll strain out. We'll also include our onions. I'm just gonna cut these in half. This one's trying to sprout, so I'll take out that green part. And finally, I'll add our apple. I'm gonna cut this in half and core it. Still leaves some pretty big chunks. I'm gonna add all the ingredients to our large pot and then fill it with water till it's covering everything. Now we'll place our pot on the propane burner. Now that it's boiling, we're gonna turn it down to a light simmer, cover it, and just let it cook. I realized I forgot a very key ingredient, and that is salt. Since I'm harvesting everything myself, we went to the ocean, boiled down seawater to make this salt. If you wanna see that video, I'll put a link down below. We'll just add a good amount here, and then adjust later as needed. Well, our rooster soup has been cooking on low for the last 3 hours. It's reduced quite a bit, and this broth on the outside looks so rich and delicious. What I'm gonna do now is cut off the heat, let it cool. We're gonna lift all the chicken and all the onions and celery out, separate out the meat. We're gonna pick those clean, save the meat, dump everything else. Then we're gonna add it back to the broth with our noodles and complete our rooster soup. So now that this has cooled, we have the task of separating out the chicken meat for our soup from everything else that will compost. So what I'm gonna do is start taking this out. As you can see, this cooked a long time and the meat is just falling off the bone. Here's one of those chicken feet. It is just completely falling apart. This adds so much richness to it with all that collagen. Anything that's meaty we'll put in a different bowl and separate out. Right now we're just getting the bones out. There's a liver. I love to eat these just as a treat, the hearts, gizzards, and liver. The neck is some of my favorite meat. It has so much flavor. Try to get everything off the bone. And we'll add that to the soup. Now that we've removed most of the extras, we're gonna now pick the meat off the chicken bodies. They're on the very bottom. All the really good chicken meat I'm gonna shred, make sure there's no bones, and fill this bowl. We'll add this back to the soup. You don't want pieces that are too big. I want them about that size. Well, we've picked the meat off the bone from 3 roosters. This is a lot of meat. When we add it back to the broth, it's gonna be delicious. We try to get as much as possible, picking the bones clean. Now that we have the meat shredded and the stock warming up on 2 different pots inside on the stovetop, we're gonna go back to the garden and harvest carrots and parsley. Here we have our carrot patch. I'll just go through and pull up quite a few of these garden carrots. Well, here's our carrots for the soup. They're not the prettiest, but they'll taste amazing. We just have to wash off all this dirt. Now that these are clean, we'll go ahead and chop them up. I went a little crazy on our harvest of carrots, but we're gonna can a bunch of this soup so we can enjoy this harvest well into the winter. I thought it's a good way to use them up. So I'm just gonna remove the tops and bottoms and slice them into these nice rounds, perfect for soup. We have all our carrots chopped up and ready to add to the soup. I'm also gonna go to the garden and harvest some parsley. And here in my raised bed behind all this basil, we have a bunch of parsley. For our parsley, we're just going to chop up these leaves and add them to the bowl. Now before we add these carrots back to the stock to let them cook, I'm going to get all the ingredients ready to make our noodles. That includes grinding some wheat I harvested earlier this year into flour and getting eggs from the chicken coop. We're now ready to make the flour for our noodles, and my girls are going to help me, Ruby and Clementine. And the wheat we're going to grind is actually a wheat that I grew myself and harvested. This is a soft white winter wheat, and I harvested this wheat all by hand. I cut it with a sickle, I threshed it and separated the seeds. And actually Clementine just helped me to make sure we went through all these seeds again to make sure all the husks are off. We have a KitchenAid mixer right here and a grain mill. So what we're going to do is grind about 3 cups of wheat berries into flour. You girls ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start slowly. I'm going to turn this on. See that flour coming out?
Yeah.
Part of the fun of cooking your own food is the kids get to be involved. They're learning where their food comes from, and they're also learning how to bake and cook themselves. Here's where the girls add the wheat berries on top of the hopper here. And as it grinds out, the flour comes down. This is very fine flour. Get your hands out of there. And our flour collects here in the bowl. While the girls finish grinding all the wheat, I'm gonna go to the chicken coop and collect the eggs. Here's our flock of chickens. We have 6 hens laying eggs, and every time I get eggs, I give them a treat. They get a little scared, but they'll come right back. Now in the back corner is a box where they lay their eggs. I collect them every day. Here's the eggs we'll use to make our noodles. While having different breeds of chickens and different ages, you get quite a variety of egg size and color. This egg is absolutely massive. This hen just started laying, and I'm guessing she probably doesn't have things figured out yet. It's probably a double yolk. And this is my smallest egg-laying hen. These eggs are tiny, but they'll all make great noodles. With all our ingredients ready to make the noodles, the flour, and the eggs, I'm now going to add the carrots to our broth and let these cook for about 15 minutes. I'll give these a good stir. And we'll make the dough for our noodles. We'll add those very soon. To start the noodles, we're going to crack 5 eggs in here. I'm really curious if this counts as a double yolk. Look at that, 2 of them. This is also pretty large. Let's see if this is a double. Two eggs, and we got 4 yolks. Next, we'll add 1 teaspoon of the sea salt we harvested from the ocean. And we'll mix that up. Clementine wants to do it.
Once the eggs are stirred, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of water. Now we're gonna add enough flour to make it like a runny batter. We're gonna start 1 cup at a time. Now we're going to keep mixing it until it almost looks like pancake batter. We're getting close, so we'll just add a little bit more flour.
The carrots have been cooking for about 15 minutes and the noodle dough is ready to add to the soup. But first, we're going to add back the chicken. At this time, we'll also add the parsley. As our soup starts to come up to temperature and boil, we're ready to add our noodle dough. This isn't really like a noodle, but more like a dumpling or a spatzel. And the way we do this is, years ago, we found this vegetable steamer with these tiny holes, and it's perfect for dropping the dough through. As it drops in the boiling water, it hardens and makes a small dumpling or noodle, and it's really delicious. So we're just gonna drop some of our dough here into the boiling water. And we're gonna work it through those holes, and the tiny drops go into that boiling water and cook into a noodle. You can see all those noodles floating on the top. This is so delicious. Now we're gonna serve some of this for dinner, and the others I'm gonna jar up and we're gonna pressure can.
I love the soup. It's homemade, healthy, and organic. Mmm, delicious.
Now to pressure can the soup, we're gonna add it to 9 pint-sized jars, and we'll place it in the pressure canner at 10 pounds of pressure for about an hour and 15 minutes. Wanna make sure to leave enough headspace there. And we'll just hand tighten the lid and place it in the pressure canner. We'll fill up the rest of these and then start the batch. We'll make sure there's 3 inches of water in the bottom. Now we'll secure the lid. Make sure it's locked on tight. Turn on the heat, and once we get consistent steam, we'll add the weight, bring it up to 10 pounds of pressure, and let it cook. Our soup's been cooking for 1 hour and 15 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure. I'm gonna turn off the heat, just let this cool down on itself. The lids will seal, and we're gonna do a second batch. Well, here's our final pressure canned rooster soup. Every single jar sealed. We have 9 pint-sized jars and 3 quart-sized jars. The flavor is amazing. The color is slightly darker because these cooked at very high temperatures for a long time. And these are the perfect size to take to work and eat for lunch. They're so filling with all that chicken, the rich broth, the carrots, and the noodles. I really enjoy making my own food, growing and raising and harvesting everything. Nothing was bought from the store. This is really healthy and a really great way to eat. I'm going to be cooking many more meals like that, so hopefully you like it. Leave a comment down below if you want me to see another recipe, another kind of soup, and hopefully you like this video. Thank you so much for watching.